Let's talk about pre-approvals. Yeah. What's the disconnect between the pre-approval and the underwriting process? Or what do we really need to know and take into consideration?
When it comes to the pre-approval, that is me vetting your credit, your assets, your income, based on the mold that they've given to us. When it comes to the pre-approval, that could be me just looking at, hey, income, assets, debt, everything's looking good from my perspective. And I usually like people to come to me before they're even looking at property, get that fully pre-approved, run them through underwriting, get the full scope of what's going on and what underwriters are going to have an issue with, so that way we can address it up front. And, it kind of is a step past that pre-approval. It's more of a pre-underwriting stage. With land, I prefer to do that just because they tend to make up their own rules, and I like to
play within them, because
yes,
they're the ones that say yes, and they're the ones that say no.
Exactly.
And so, as a land agent, and I'm meeting with clients, and it's like, what we really need to do is we need to start the financial process before we start looking, because we really want to be able to find out what's within your scope of your budget.
Yes.
And what you're capable of getting, because you may think that you qualify for something that's worth $500,000, $200,000, whatever that number is, and then it comes back to where it's significantly less. So I don't know about you, but I don't like to go shopping without money in my pocket because then I'm just left disappointed.
Like I said, that's why I like to do that up front, just because, and like you just said, 15% is a lot of money, especially on like a $500,000 piece of property. If somebody's coming to me thinking, oh, I just got to do 5% down on land, that's only 25 grand, and then they come to me and find out, oh, it's actually 15%, that's 75,000.
That's a lot of money.
That can change some things. So that's why I would love to do the pre-underwrites. So it's just, getting the pre-approval is one thing, but getting the pre-underwrite, especially when it comes to land, can be all the difference of what are we up against, what do we need? And I mean, honestly, it just helps the whole process move smoother, because if I have a pre-underwrite, they're telling me, hey, it all looks good, we just need some updated pay stubs. There's times where I've closed land loans in 2 weeks because we did the pre-underwrite and they came back and said, hey, we just need updated pay stubs 15 days from closing.
I love that. Pre-underwriting over pre-approvals.
Yes.
Because I've also heard it say that pre-approvals really aren't worth the paper that they're written on. How valid is that statement?
Not entirely. From a traditional financing standpoint, our team, we have a 100% pre-approval to close ratio of, conventional USDA, VA, because with those, you're going to have what's called an automated underwriting system, where I can take your file and I can pump it through the system that says you're good, or nope, there's work that needs to be done.
So it's already kind of going through a pre-underwriting system and the traditional route.
Yes.
But when you're going through a land lender and they're a private investor, then they have a whole different system than what most lenders and brokers utilize.
Yes, they don't even give us access to see what they're seeing. They just come back and say, hey, he's good, or no. And then honestly, with this investor, and that's where I have to do a lot of troubleshooting, and where it does pay to have a broker involved in the land, because a lot of things are, oh, well, if I can go get a land loan through this bank that you're going through, what matters? When it comes to where you might hear that is pre-qualifications aren't worth the paper they're printed on. Pre-approval is I'm looking at your credit report. I'm seeing if there's any issues that are on the credit report, from credit score down to late payments, collections. I'm looking at your income. I'm making sure that you tell me you're making X amount of money. I'm looking at the pay stubs that say this is how much you're making. Bank statements, hey, I tell you need to have this much to closing. You're showing me a bank statement that you have that much or more, ideally more, just for reserves. But that's what a pre-approval is. So it's, pre-qual is kind of the bottom of the barrel. Pre-approval is a good, a solid middle ground. And then there is pre-underwrite, which is, hey, an underwriter has looked at this file, and this is, what they're requesting. And we can kind of get that before you're even under contract. We need the appraisal, title work, and then on the borrower side, we just need updated pay stubs just to verify that, they didn't quit their job prior to closing. And we're done on my side. We can close as fast as the appraisal and title work comes back, which is usually 2 weeks or less. It just helps the flow of everything, helps the speed of everything, and it helps make your offer stand out because you're pre-underwritten. There's nothing holding you back from getting this loan other than title and appraisal.
That's exciting, because once you do find the land that you want, your dream land that you've been praying about, that you've been thinking about, that you've been searching for, you don't want anything to stand in your way to prevent you from getting that. Well, there you have it. I am Jenny Price, Backroads Properties out of Keller Williams Realty Services. I am your local land specialist for the state of Kentucky. And
I'm David Behymer with UMortgage Midwest. You can find me anywhere on @LoanOfficerDave on all social media, and I've been joking calling myself Land Officer Dave lately. So call me for
I'm the landlady, and you're the land officer.
Land Officer Dave.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in.